I don't want any kids. I don't want no kids. If she gets pregnant, is he obligated to take care of the child? That's the topic. Now, before I pass it on to everybody else, me real quickly, that's all well and good. He said he didn't want a child. But if he didn't use protection, I feel like he's responsible for that child as well.
Absolutely, I agree. I agree completely with you.
I mean, I'm gonna just leave it right there for right now without expounding any further. If he didn't use protection, he's responsible.
Hey, Boo, you mute Ashley.
Okay, I'm sorry. Can you hear my GPS?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
So last week, the first episode, or the second episode actually, I chose the first person to give their opinion based on happiness and who looked the happiest. Today I'm gonna base it on who looks the most colorful. And today that will be Miss James, who looks very colorful this evening.
Colorful.
So Miss James, how do you feel about this particular topic?
I definitely agree with Boyce. At the end of the day, I do understand anyone speaking their opinion or their values or what they feel or whatever. So with them saying that they didn't want any kids, got it. But they didn't use the precautions to not make any kids. So with that being said, once the child has been conceived, he is now responsible for a life that's out here. So I do think that he is still responsible.
Okay. So, Voice, being that you started off making your point, we're gonna go back to you just for a moment. Now, why do you take that stance that you're taking?
Because he didn't take the precautions. So it's one thing to say, I don't want a kid, I don't want to have a child. But you're laying down and you're being intimate with this woman. If you don't take the precaution, this is me as a man saying that. If you don't take the precaution to not have a child, you can't depend solely on the woman, like birth control. And I'm not saying, I'm not even trying to give a worst case scenario, like she's trying to trick him or anything like that. But birth control doesn't always work, right? We all know that. We know people that, we know women that have conceived even on birth control. So having said that, she may still take the precaution to make sure to do everything in your power not to conceive a child. And if you're not doing that, then you're responsible. That's my opinion. Like I had a situation like that. And it wasn't, we continued with the relationship for a while and unraveling. But here's the point. When it came to the point of the conception of a child, and she thought I would be angry with her. And I'm like, why am I angry? Why would I be mad at you? I didn't use a condom. I didn't ask you about birth control. We was doing what we was doing.
Right.
Straight like that. Now, a decision was made, between two responsible adults about what we was going to do, so on and so forth. But there's no way I could be upset with her because, I could have stopped to the store and grabbed a pack of Trojans on the way.
Right.
I never did. So if she would have made a choice to have the child, I'm responsible and I'm gonna be a father. Whether we were together or not, I was gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? So like that's my opinion. That's how I feel.
Okay, before I choose my next person, is there anybody on the panel who actually disagrees with Voice? Nobody? Okay.
Yes. I have something to say in regards to that.
Okay, let's go.
Okay, so I do agree to a degree because now once there is a child that is involved in this, I also have to take into consideration where this child stands. And although, yes, the man would be responsible, they will both be responsible for taking care of the child, but he cannot be omitted from taking care of the child. There's the other part that also makes me think, okay, so what happens when this child is caught up in between this big conundrum between the two adults? And so this is going to cause a conflict. So there's a part of me that doesn't believe that the child should even be brought into that.
Okay, Jessica, how you feeling?
I mean, I agree with voice, but my thing is, okay, if we coming up into it and we saying that we don't want kids, but we not taking the right precautions, like at the end of the day, like we're gonna have to put our big girl drawers on and our big boy pants on, and we're gonna have to be parents. Like, ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it, you know. I mean, that's
Okay,
just how I feel.
no doubt. Being that everybody's agreeing, I'm gonna get everybody out the way because everybody's on the same page, and then I'm gonna be forced to be an asshole and be
Yeah,
the devil's
I ain't mean
advocate.
to like. I didn't mean to make an argument where everybody was going to agree. I was just giving my point of view. Like,
Right, and that's it. That's the general consensus of the panel. But at the same time, this Adam versus Eve, man. We got to make this thing interesting, right? So,
go
Rob,
for it.
why do you feel the way you feel about this?
Well, I feel like I said, I feel that way because if it happened how we said it happened, then yeah. But a part of me, before you play the devil advocate, let me play it.
Okay, let's go.
So if it was discussed though, or let's say, so this is a mutual thing. Is this what I'm hearing? Neither one of them want to be parents, but they slipped up and had a baby or got pregnant. Excuse me.
Well,
So this,
he's animate that he doesn't want one. We don't really
uh,
know what the woman wants or whatever, but the
oh,
man is
okay.
animate that he don't want a kid.
He doesn't want one. Okay,
Right.
but she get pregnant anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and it was mutual. They were mutual sex. You know, she won't fits. He ain't fits.
Yep.
Uh,
Right. So, Dookie, you the only person that hasn't given your opinion yet. So, how are you feeling?
Morally, I agree with Sister Elder, but 40 years on this earth, I've seen good and evil, and I know for a fact, many people on this panel know, there is a form of female rape, and most of them are not considered physical.
Okay.
I mean, I don't want to go into very many details, but I've experienced and seen corrupt condoms at the chick's house. I've seen drugs people drink. I mean, and now, well, there's a multitude of problems there. Let's address the morality angle that Miss Heather brought up. Now, everything is word of mouth. He said, she said. Now, when it ultimately boils down to the court of law, you can't just have like a single love contract for the 19 times y'all don't bone and somebody turns out pregnant.
Right.
No matter who wanted it or didn't want it. Hell, at that point, you gotta start recording every session.
Well, that's very interesting that you brought that up because that kind of goes back to Roe versus Wade. Those who are not familiar, that was a famous court case that's kind of dealing with this topic, and basically it came to the conclusion that the only thing that the father could do, well, it would be up to the mother.
It's the woman.
The woman and the courts would determine whether or not you would be held liable for that child, right? Now the man does have the right to get rid of all his parental rights. He can request that. But at the end of the day, the woman has to sign off on it. And even if the woman signs off on it,
it's still going to get money.
The court still may be like, nah. And even if the court say nah, he gotta do what he's gonna have to pay. And it doesn't even matter what kind of contract that they got in line. You know what I mean? Him and the woman. So
hey,
I have a statement.
let me ask you a question. What y'all think about this? This is a situation that I know for a fact happened. So similar. I don't know if the man expressed that he didn't want a child, but once the woman was, got pregnant and she lets him know, he tells her then, like, I don't want nothing to do with the child. I'll pay child support and everything, but I don't want to have nothing to do with him. What y'all think about that? Like, he's saying, I don't want to see him. I don't want to talk to him. I don't know him. I don't want none of that. But I will financially support the child. What y'all think?
That's basically what CJ is talking about. You sign your parental rights, but like you said, the court still might hold you accountable financially, but you don't have no physicality.
This dude was willing to do that. He's like, yo, I pay child support, but I don't have nothing to do with it. I'm like, damn. Like,
Well, I have something to say. I have a statement and then I have a question. Kind of basically in regards to the basics of y'all speaking. As a female, myself, and I am a single mother. I'm not a female that I kind of put a lot per se on the male, knowing that one, we weren't in a particular relationship. We didn't have a certain understanding with certain things and certain things in the way I feel. I don't push a certain blame. Like if you, for instance, in that situation, if they already told you that they didn't want a child and all that, I will feel that they are still responsible for it. But I don't feel like I'm going to go all out my way to make your life a miserable hell because you choose not to be in my child's life. You kind of already told me you wasn't going to be there. Things of that nature. So I feel like as a man or as a human or as a person, I feel like it takes a lot of kind of messed up ways to know that you have a human in this world and not want to make sure that they're okay. But that's you. that's you. But I have a question. So what if they're the female in a situation of them saying that they did not want the child, in a situation of them never even speaking on that, but the female have made it clear or let them know that they don't believe in abortions or they don't believe in certain things if that took place. And then now once they get to this situation, you don't want the child, but you already knew her stance on things. How do y'all feel about that?
He should have strapped up. Two things. My opinion only. Don't mess with her. Or if you do, use a condom every time.
Facts.
Right.
Straight like that.
So
because if she gets pregnant, she's not going to get an abortion if she gets pregnant. So either you don't deal with her, or if you do, you got to do everything you can to make sure that you don't conceive. You got to take it upon yourself as the man to be like, yo, I'm gonna wear a condom every time. And yeah, I know we don't really like it. It feels like taking a shower in a raincoat, but still.
Right. So let me get Jessica back involved because she's mighty quiet. So situation. Man tells you he don't want no children. You end up pregnant anyway. If he just wants to, how would you feel if the man doesn't want no parental rights, but is willing to pay child support? At that point, are you gonna feel like you need to force the issue on that man, or you gonna just take it laying down, just like, well, at least I get the bag out of it?
I mean, I wouldn't really look at it as getting the bag out of it, but I mean, going into the situation, like, if he knew, like, because he didn't want kids, right? We both didn't want kids, right? But I don't believe in abortions, right?
Right.
But I mean, like, I don't want it just for the bag, but I mean, I can't be mad at him because I knew what it was. We both knew what it was. So, I mean, so it ain't, I don't know. I couldn't be mad because I knew what it was when I laid down with him, when we had sex. We knew what it was. But it was up to us whether we went about it the right way, whether we used protection or any of that. But I mean, I wouldn't look at it for the bag, though. I mean, it sucks
Whatever.
that you're gonna miss out on your child life. But I mean, I
Absolutely.
appreciate the help, though. You know what I'm trying to say?
Right.
But money will never take the place of your child. You know?
No.
Absolutely.
Hey,
'Cause I
hey,
would be
CJ.
I would be pissed off personally. Like if that's just like if a woman was, if I find out a chick I had sex with was pregnant, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she chose to abort that child and don't consult with me,
Right.
like I'm gonna take that like, yo, that's reason to make me hate you, yo. Like for real.
That's a slap in the face. Yeah.
So Heather, the same question as I asked Jessica.
Okay. Wow. I personally feel that I haven't lived this situation, but I feel like, for one, if he was adamant about not wanting any kids, then he shouldn't have stuck. Like, it just should not have happened. If he told her, I don't want no kids, he shouldn't have let him. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, it should not have gotten to that. Now, realistically, in the life that we live in, like, hormones take over, and like when you want it, you're gonna get it. And so they both should have been more like mature enough to be able to handle that. No child should actually have to suffer because two adults were immature. You understand what I mean? So like when it comes down to it, where my mental is, I'm thinking about the state of the child, period. Because that child has no advocate. That child has no voice. So, you know what I'm saying? Overall, when I'm looking at the situation, I'm thinking about the child. I'm not thinking about the adult. I ain't thinking about him. I ain't thinking about her. I'm thinking about the child. And overall, it's a messy situation where you have one person that wants to be an absent parent. And we all have experienced somebody who has been an absent parent if it wasn't one of us. And so in knowing that, we know that the struggle is real. And it should never come down to that. If you don't want to be in that category, don't put yourself in that category. So, like, I don't think that it really should even happen. Really, if we were to be more responsible sexually, then we wouldn't really be having these issues. If you absolutely feel like you need to get it in, strap up. But please understand that strapping up don't mean that it's going to protect from everything.
That's a fact.
Like, there's still a chance you could still get pregnant even if you strap up. Like, so understand where that comes from. And I know females who have been with a dude, he's strapped up, she's on the pill, and still there's a seed born from that. So we can't sit here and say that. Overall, the best protection from that is just not having sex, period.
True.
So, Voice, I know you had a statement that you wanted to make.
Yeah, I'm like, at least take the precautions. You know what I'm saying? Like, at the end of everything, if you at least took the precautions, then that's whatever. But it's a slippery slope. You know, like I had a situation, and I don't know if the woman will do this or whatever, and it's no slight to her. But we had a trice over a weekend, and she ended up pregnant, and she lost a child. There was a conversation between she and I, and she was like, and we lived out of state, we lived different states. And she said, if that hadn't happened and she lost a child, she didn't know if she would tell me that she had my child. I was livid.
I will be too.
Like, fuck you mean? You got I have a child in this world and you ain't tell me? You deny me the opportunity to be a father? Now, for everybody watching, like I have 4 children that I raised, right, from when they were little. Like, I think the oldest was 8 when I came into their lives. So I'm daddy, but I don't have any biological children. And for her, like, to possibly deny me the opportunity to be a father, it was very difficult for me to deal with. Now, I know that's not every guy. It might not be a lot of guys. I took responsibility though, because like when we got together, I didn't. There was no condoms. You know, I didn't ask her if she was on birth control or anything. So I gotta take responsibility for that. That's me. Like if I didn't take caution and it happens, I have to take responsibility.
No doubt. So let me go to Rob real quick. Let me go to Rob. So Rob, I'm gonna switch the scenario up a little bit, right?
All right.
Let's use the old. Let me poke a hole in the condom. Poke a hole. Let me poke a hole. Let me use this pen and put a hole in this rubber right quick, because I want this nigga to knock me up. That nigga is you today. You know you strapped up. You know you did everything you supposed. Now this actually happens. Right. It was an NBA player. I can't think of his name right now who's dealing with something like that right now.
Right. Now this was a condom she provided, right?
It's a condom that she provided.
Yeah. I don't do them. I bring my own. I don't do them. And if you don't trust the female that you with, you might, after you use that condom, you might not want to throw it away in her trash can, because they doing the turkey basting and all that crap now.
All of that goes
so
on.
I mean, see, and you know that right there, I mean, that's some foul dirtiness right there. But the courts is they don't care about that. You got her pregnant. And once you do the DNA and all that, it's gonna show it's yours whether you wanted it or not.
So, but the question, okay, I get that part of it, and I agree with you. But the question is, in a situation like that, do you still feel like it's fair? Like, do you still take it? Like, say somebody who got tricked into it, just like how we describing. Do you still feel like he should be held liable for that child? Are we froze?
Yeah.
Nah, he shouldn't. He shouldn't. He shouldn't be. I'm gonna be real with you.
Hello?
He shouldn't be.
Hello?
Hello? If he's been tricked, he should not be held liable. If he can prove he's been tricked into it.
Okay, Voice, what you think about that?
It's hard to prove that he been tricked. I mean, it's really hard.
Okay, let's just say for the record, she openly admits that she tricked him.
He shouldn't be. No. Because he took the precaution.
Like DMX. DMX got tricked, right? You remember that?
Of course, he should not be responsible if he was tricked. But let's keep it real. That's why sometimes you guys and everybody need to slow down and stop just trying to hump every little thing or whatever, or different type of individuals, and kind of get to know more the person that you're sleeping with. Because at the end of the day, once the child is conceived, both parties are responsible because the child is here.
That's a fact. I agree.
Morally, ethically, and all that. No, you shouldn't be. But the child is now here, so yes.
The dude need to bring his own rubbers.
I agree.
Yeah, but even once you bring your own rubbers and different things of that nature, let's be real. As Heather said, things happen, and it don't always make it out where it's gonna be that everything's gonna end up squeaky clean. The best part is abstinence.
Yeah, check this out. I agree with you. I don't disagree with you.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm not having an argument with you. But I'm saying, if I come with my condoms myself and it still happens, like maybe you bust through it, like, you know, whatever, and it happens. I mean, it does. And she gets pregnant. Okay, then I'm still responsible. But now, if I depend on her to provide a condom and she did an okey doke on the joint, then it's like, but I should have been like, yo, I'm gonna bring my own joint.
Listen, with you depending on her with a condom anyway, you already came with the pretense of not using a condom. You wasn't gonna use one.
I'm with
like,
you.
to be honest, you really wasn't gonna use one. So her supply, regardless, it don't matter. You tricked yourself by humping the girl.
I'm with you.
So Dookie Mac down there, you been quiet for a minute. You done got tricked into this damn baby. Now, your name is Dookie Mac, so I already know how you gonna feel about that.
Damn it, boy.
And no moral or consciousness neither. Like, how you gonna feel?
I'm a fear. Keep somebody out of prison, somebody out of a grave, if all the facts have been expressed. Then I given a choice. I still want to participate with the life of that child.
No doubt.
Now, see, that's the one scenario where I might feel like, I don't know. Never mind. I take that back. Because the more I think about it, it's still me. Like, you feel what I'm
No,
saying?
that's
Like,
honorable as hell, though.
yeah.
That's honorable.
That's what our original point was. You have to go now. You have to start recording every session.
That's been going on for so long with the tricks and the different things and the saying that you're pregnant and not pregnant, or this going on and that going on. So as adults or as people sleep, and even with your kids, and you know you have sons, there's certain discussions and certain things that need to be addressed and that need to be told. And like again, when it comes down to sexual activities, sometimes everybody kind of need to slow down and get to know. I remember it was a time, well, at least it was portrayed that way. There was a time when guys they slept with the girl that they actually had the idea of having a child with. Like that was their idea of doing certain things. So without having a future with them, they weren't wasting their time or doing certain things anyway. Not saying, I guess there wasn't probably little slide sleep things, but my thing is you need to slow down and kind of go, because once a child is conceived, everybody is technically responsible. But again, for me, I may be a little crazy about it, but I like having my kids alone. Sometimes, of course, I think about it and I'm like, wish somebody would come get them, sometimes like that. But I like that I am putting and installing things in them. And I also like that I'm not making anyone. It's this natural love that they're receiving and all of that. One thing I do not like is kids being disappointed because they're looking for their parent, a parent that don't be around.
Right.
So for
Yeah.
me, I would take the money if that was offered, and it ain't about no bag per se, but it is a bag for these kids or whatever. Now, how you use it is on you. Whether you're investing in making sure they future good, or they got checking accounts, or they doing this, that's on you. If you taking any using on yourself, that's on you as a parent. Hey,
Okay,
but
so
I would take the bag.
Okay, I'm gonna switch it up on you guys for a second. Now I'm gonna focus on the ladies first, fellas. Then I'm gonna give you guys a chance to respond. Ladies, I'm gonna start off with Heather because she's been silenced for a little while. Is there any scenario can you see yourself tricking a man into getting you pregnant? Under any scenario?
That would be a hell no.
Okay, that's a hell no for Heather.
No.
Jessica.
I'm good. I'm all the way good.
I know y'all very honorable. Okay, Satya.
Yeah.
Under no circumstances, you have never came across no man where you would be like, I'm gonna have this nigga baby. You ain't never came across that dude.
Now I'm gonna have this nigga baby. The thought of saying that you want their baby and actually doing things to trick them is different stories. Yes, I may have had a thought that I might want somebody baby, but no, I have never wanted to trick anyone into having a child. That don't
What kind
keep
of
a
woman
man.
would I be?
That don't keep a man. So what I'm gonna do? Trick myself into having more responsibility? That makes no sense.
Okay, so I have a confession to make, and I'm just keeping it 100.
But I think us women be getting tricked into having these kids.
And that's what I'm about to tell you. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to keep it 100. If I want you to have my baby, You gonna have my baby. I'm just keeping it
I think they be
100.
trying to make sure we don't be having no hot girl summers or something.
Your ass gonna be knocked. If I want you to be knocked up, you gonna be knocked up by CJ. You heard? Now, fellas, boys. Let me start off with my
Go ahead,
boy
ask the
voice.
question.
Voice, what up?
Look, I'm gonna just tell my truth. I can't.
Oh Lord.
Nah, I'm saying I grew up. My pops wasn't around, so I didn't want to just have a kid with a tick just for the sake of having a kid. Like, if I couldn't be there in their life, I ain't want to do that because I know how it felt for me. Like, what my daddy don't want. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm dead ass serious. Like, it's still an issue for me to this day.
Right.
I never saw a woman where I was like, yo, I'm gonna get her pregnant. Fuck out of here. No. Like, I want to know, can we have a life together? If we can have a life together, then I'm cool with us having a family. But if I wasn't feeling that way, I'm doing everything in my power to not have that. Now,
hold on. I get that. And I'm with you right up to that point. Now, it's not like I'm saying I'm picking a random chick. This is somebody that, let's just say this woman that you can see yourself having a life with, right? But she's like, nah, I ain't ready. I don't want to have it right now. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna say this.
I ain't gonna try to make it happen.
For us women, we've all had a moment where we probably did something where it was like that. You were supposed to stop, you ain't get up, or you latched them legs closer and held them longer a little, in the heat of the moment. But you still can't call that trickery because y'all still probably in a situation where y'all won't protect them or whatever, however, some shit is bound to happen. But I'm going to say that's the closest I could say the form of deception or something is, nigga, you was trying to get up and it was like, nah, not now.
Nah, hell nah. Bring your ass back here.
Yeah, I never tried to do that. I put it like this: it was never my intent. Like, yo, I'm gonna get you knocked up. Just because of that. Like, for me personally, that's why. Because I remember wondering why my father wouldn't come see me. You know what I mean? So, like, I didn't want to do that to another kid. So I was very cautious and very, I took a lot of precautions to make sure. Now, am I saying every time I'm strapped up? No, I ain't gonna say that. Like, I was cautious and I was lucky,
So you was pulling out?
Yeah.
No.
Hey, Rob,
reminded me of that topic.
CJ, you open the door. So
CJ and them had about trick dadding. I feel like y'all just lying right now. Like,
yeah, we need to do that one.
Wait. Y'all gotta hold on.
We need to do that one.
Let me address the rest of the fellas first. Then we go, because we got 10 minutes. So Rob.
10 minutes.
Okay, CJ, you open the door. So y'all was saying true confessions. I'm gonna tell my truth. When I was about 24 years old, I was I thought it was love. I never really had love, but I thought that was love. It was infatuation. But I was infatuated with this older chick, and she was gorgeous to me. Big, thick, red bone, gorgeous. And I tried my best to get her pregnant. I mean, bruh. And I'm a twin maker, and I could not get her pregnant for nothing. I was trying to get her pregnant. Yeah. And it wasn't even about that I seen this grand scheme or future or whatever with her. I just was so infatuated with her. I wanted to get her pregnant, and I tried, but God was like, nah. And then I had the twins. Then I had these twins, and then later on in life, she gets married and she has twins, but she couldn't have my twins.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
Okay, Dookie, what's your truth? What the hell?
The dinky man. Hey, he need to cut his mic on. Tell him to cut his mic on.
Hey, Dookie, you muted. Unmute yourself.
There you go. There you go.
There you go.
My truth on your contrived scenario or what?
This man got
I
the
don't know what word you just used, but yeah, hell yeah. The word you said, yeah, that's the one.
I've seen a lot, and I'm gonna say this and be done with it on this hypothetical scenario. You live and you learn.
Facts. Facts.
Hey, can I say so real quick?
Yes, you may.
So the question was, did you pull out? And I was like, I was trying to say something. But I didn't want to get like hypersexual. But yeah, I did, and would like put it other places.
Oh. Oh. Uh-oh.
Whoa.
Oh.
Hey, listen, man.
Look at him.
You gotta go other places. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Y'all trying to go too deep on this one.
Sometimes.
other places is good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. But then sometimes you don't want to move. So all I'm saying is, voice, if you're raw dogging it, you're not going other places every time.
Mm.
No, I told you I had two situations where the woman was impregnated. So no, I ain't saying every time, but I'm saying a lot of times, like I'm pulling out and like,
listen, I don't even hold up, man. I don't even believe it's a lot of times. I think it's a 50-50.
A lot of kids was made off of pre-cum, so that pulling out method don't mean a damn.
It don't. It don't.
I don't deny that.
It don't.
I deny that.
And I agree with you.
Deny it.
I agree with
Deny
you.
it.
Valid point.
Well, but when I felt it coming, I jumped out and
But
whatever.
I do have one other statement to make about the whole scenario. I mean, the real actual question is, I feel like people should be responsible for their kids because they are seeds that you're planting in this earth. And from my experience with meeting back with my father, I feel like men, women, but definitely men, you can't reach your fullest potential without all of your seeds being reached there too. So I feel like if you put them out there in the world, you should want to make sure that they grow up to be what they're supposed to be. So that's how I feel.
Facts.
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 But it ain't gonna happen like that, but they should be there.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are now at 40 minutes, which means I need for each and every one of you to give your final thoughts on what we talked about today. If you learned something, if your perspective changed, or so forth and so on. Your final thoughts. So, being that Miss Heather was so quiet the last few minutes of the show, Miss Heather, what are your final thoughts on today's show?
The diva.
Well, I think it was refreshing to actually hear the male perspective as far as want to be there in order to take care of any of their children that they're willing to work for. Honestly, it's refreshing to know that men actually have the same desires that we do. Because a lot of times in the media or when we're watching TV or we're reading any other type of magazines or whatever, we hear how men are womanizers and that they have no respect and they cherish women. But this is so much more than that because we're talking about actually acting off of a desire and what can come from that desire. And so, in looking at the bigger picture, it's very refreshing to know that men, and dare I say it, but I'm going to go ahead and say it anyway, Black men actually have a desire to actually stand up and be strong Black men to want to take care of their children and not just go out here and make them.
No doubt. Great comment. Miss Jessica.
I feel the same way. Like it's like it's good to hear and to see, like, you know, our black men, you know, y'all voicing y'all opinion and showing and letting the world see like it ain't all like that, because you know how they bash our black men. It's all about how our black men don't want to be a part of their child life. They don't want to do that. It's all about running the streets and so on and so on. But when you up here and y'all talking about, you know, wanting to be there and how you will be upset, like that's refreshing. Like that's good to hear. And that's good to put out there for everybody else to hear, you know? But it's like, you know, like hopefully, like I hope like a lot of people can see like the difference. Cause like our black men want to be here, honey. They want to be part of their kids' lives, you know?
No doubt. No doubt.
Right.
Rob, what's going on?
Yes,
what
sir.
are your final thoughts? I know you got a good one.
It goes like this. Coming that I was raised by women, and like I said, my father wasn't like voice. My father was absent. Like my castmates say, the moral thing is to be there for your kid. You know, your kid has no say so. And then you got to think about the bigger picture. What is that kid is going to think when they grow up and start asking those questions? Because kids, we all ask them questions. How was this? How was that? And you got to have an answer for them. So be safe. Do it the right way. Like you said, if you don't want the kid, strap up.
Right.
Yeah.
Strap up.
I pretty much said my final response.
Yeah, you kind of did. You
She opened it up.
You got a head start. You know what I mean? You went on there before I could take you there, but it was
I'm sorry. I do wish we could have saw some of those comments. So I just saw some. Wish we could have.
All right, voice.
I didn't say my. Sorry.
I feel, you know, take your responsibility as a man. Like, if you don't want a child, then do everything you can to make sure that doesn't happen. But if it does happen, I feel like you're responsible. You know,
That's
unless
right.
you can prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, like the woman did some very deceptive thing to quote unquote untrap you. And, you gotta step up and do that.
No doubt. I heard Ashley in the background. Ashley, if you caught the show, what are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with what everyone was saying. I had so much agreement. It was refreshing to hear what a lot of people had to say too. I learned something new about how a lot of fathers wanted to be in their children's lives, and how, you know, they don't want to repeat the same cycles that they done been through. Like, that's something I respect. And I feel like it does take a village to raise a child. Like, you know what I'm saying? It just can't be like, just because I don't want a kid, but you know, some mistakes happen. You just can't leave somebody, one parent, out to dry like that. So, I mean, you got to think of the future, and do what you got to do for your kid, like, regardless of what the situation is, because shit happens. So, I always got to keep that kid in mind about what you're going through.
Okay. Last but certainly not least, hold on. Heather, did you address it?
Yes.
Did I go to you?
You went to her first.
Okay, so Dookie Mac, final thoughts, final word.
The future holds all the answers.
My man.
So with that being said, that was a beautiful show. And we about to we at 8:45, so we gonna close out the show. But we gonna stick. Whoever want to stick around, we can answer some of these questions in the comments.